I was like, okay, I saw this email this morning, like right before I went for a run, and then I spent the whole run thinking about it because I'm like a Libra and I'm very indecisive. And I was like, oh my gosh, but what if I really did only have these two books? Like, oh, what if I picked the wrong ones? But um, I would think I would pick. Okay, my first one is like I say this so often that like at this point I'm just sucking up to him, but I would choose Amateur by Thomas Page McBee because this book like it literally is my favorite. I don't know if you've read it, but it's a great book and it's written by a trans man and it talks just about like masculinity and it's in the context of a boxing match too, which is like it's just really interesting to me because I'm trans and I like to do Muay Thai and I like to think about masculinity and gender and all of those things and like it's one of those books where like every time I read it I get something new from it. Like the first time I read it was before I was out and then I started, I was like thinking about it and now I read it now and I have a different view on masculinity because I'm seen as more masculine. And so like that's just a really interesting one that I feel like I could read and reread. And then I think the other one I would pick, I'll do two for now and then if I have to do another one I'll probably stress about it. But the other one I would pick is probably I would choose like a children's book because I'm a total nerd and I used to read like all day, every day, and I just like love children's books. And I think maybe if I had to pick a children's book, I would pick The Twits by Roald Dahl, even though I'm pretty sure that Roald Dahl has actually been like outed as probably like racist or homophobic. But this book just, I thought it was so funny when I was growing up, and I just remember reading it and rereading it so many times. So hopefully I would enjoy it in the apocalypse too.
Okay, so I've been thinking about it. So I really love fiction, so I'm sure that, well, I just wrote down my list that I've been thinking of, and like all of them are fiction. So like my number one would be The Hike by Drew Magary.
I knew you were gonna say that. I
Okay,
was gonna say it.
I love it so much because it reads like a dream. Like, you know how you have those weird dreams and like you're one place and then like the scene changes and suddenly you're somebody else but you're still also yourself and like all these things are happening. It's just like such a wild book. You could probably read it over and over again and still like find like new things each time. And it's just like it's really weird and I love that because there's just so many different things going on in it, so it doesn't seem like one like long line of like story. It's like a story with like a bunch of different branches coming out of the storyline, so it's like that one is my absolute favorite. And then I think I would go with Vampires in the Lemon Grove by Karen Russell, and it's a book of short stories. But I really love Karen Russell because her stories are just like so weird and magic. They like make me feel like it's Halloween like all year round. Like it's not even
Mhm.
Halloween vibe. It's just like kind of like eerie but like really really good. And like not scary but like just like odd. But I really love her writing. So definitely a short stories book so I have like multiple stories in one book.
Yeah, that's a
Um
good call. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know. I know we have one book left between the two of us, but I mean, I guess just in general, I would probably bring like an art book so we could have something pretty to look at. Yeah, I have this really cool book. I actually just saw someone post a picture of it on Instagram yesterday, but it's this book. I think it's called like the Fireside like book of songs for children, and it's illustrated by John Alcorn, and he's like this illustrator that has a lot of really amazing like psychedelic art from like the 60s like the 70s and stuff, and it's like that classic like I don't even know like maybe like it's not really folk art but it's like psychedelic folk art. That's what it reminds me of, but
Yeah,
like
it's
it's
really
just
cool.
filled with like these children's songs like the music notes and everything accompanied by like a really awesome illustration that's just like so wild and wacky. But I like that. I think I would bring that just so I could like
That's a
have
good
the
pick.
option of like music and looking at pretty colors.